Hello everyone, today we are going to learn how to make a tassel and attach it onto your wool applique, as you can see right here. It's actually a very fun little project that you can do not only for wool embellishing, you can make tassels for your pillows, home decor, bags, things like that, and it's actually really easy, so let's get started. First of all, I'm just going to be using two different colored threads just for clarity purposes. You can of course use the same color thread or you can mix and match. I'm just going to go in with the variegated thread right here. Both the threads that I'm using today are Eleganza number 8. They're all pearl cotton threads, which are really nice and round to give you a really fluffy and full tassel design. First, I'm going to grab this one here, and I'm not going to snip the thread. I'm actually just going to be wrapping it around my 2 fingers. You can also grab a fork or you can grab a small piece of cardboard if you prefer to wrap around those. But this is just kind of to get a loop going that will come off our fingers eventually. So I just have 2 of my fingers like this. I'm going to hold the thread down first, and I'm going to just do it 20 times. Now that I have 20 wraps around my finger, I'm just going to snip the thread here and remove the loops from my fingers. There we go. And before we close it up, you see how it's nice and open like this. So next, we just want to snip a small piece of thread here. This is just to secure the loop in place. So all I'm going to do is thread this thread through the loop and tie a double knot. So there's one, and again, here's the second knot. I'm just going to pull that nice and snug so it's secure. Here's a top-down view so you can kind of see what has happened. So that's what your initial tassel will look like. The next thing we can do is kind of the fun part. I'm going to hold the threads where I just tied the knot, put my scissors in the loop, and give it a nice clean snip. And that is kind of the beginning stages of your tassel. It kind of looks like a mop right now. So the next thing we have to do is secure the top a little bit better. So if you're going to make a tassel and you want it to be a loose one that goes on a pillow, like a corner of a pillow or on a bag, it's not going to be stitched down. What you can do next is grab your other thread. I'm using the blue in this case so you can see a little bit better. You can grab some of this thread and you can actually loop it around the top a few times like this and secure it in place by tying a knot. And that's what your tassel could look like. Or for us, what we're actually going to do is, since we're stitching it down on a piece of wool, this is when you grab your wool. I'm just using a little piece right here. And your needle, you're going to thread that needle with the thread that you plan on covering your tassel with. You're going to lay your tassel down where you want it to be. I'm just going to put it this way. And you're going to secure the top of your tassel to the wool just by making a few stitches. And so I do this step probably 2 or 3 times just so I know it's really nice and secure and it's not going to come undone. So there it is twice. And then next what I can do is pull the tassel downwards like this. And so I'm going to flip it so my left hand can hold the tassel down and my right hand can do the stitching. I'm just going to come up right next to the tassel and then kind of go next to and a little bit underneath so you get a nice rounded look. I'm just gonna make sure those aren't in the way. And there's your first one. And you're basically going to fill up this top section like a satin stitch. So I like to go kind of in the middle and the bottom. I'm just going to make a couple lines in the middle here and the bottom to get an idea of how far down I want the top of this tassel to go. So I'm going to do one more so there's a bit more coverage right here. And that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to snip these threads so they kind of get out of my way. And you know that your tassel is already secured to your piece. And then next you're just going to basically do a satin stitch all along the top of this tassel to cover up the loose threads and where it's been secured down. There we go. That's kind of the top of our tassel there. So next what you want to do is just tie a knot at the back of your work here. Sometimes I don't knot. You can also just like loop it around a couple times underneath and that will be secure. I snip the thread. And then you have your tassel. Now all there is left to do is give it a bit of a haircut to make sure everything lines up. I usually bunch up all the threads together and give it a straight snip across just to make sure everything is nice and even. Then you can kind of use your fingers and spread out the tassel however you want. Of course, if you want a fuller looking tassel, you can have more wraps around your finger or cardboard or whatever it is. But I kind of like the look of the 20 wraps around my finger. This is what it ends up looking like. After this, you can stitch your stem stitch or back stitch or chain stitch, whatever you want to make it look like the tassel is attached to something. But it's as easy as that, and that's how you make a tassel.
Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great tips, tricks, and tutorials. You can also sign up for our weekly newsletter to get the first look at free projects, sewing tips, and inspiring tutorials delivered right to your inbox. Check out the description box below to sign up, as well as find a list of stores and retailers that you can purchase WonderFil threads from in your country.